Well, the jury was out on whether Donald Trump was going to back Roy Moore. You kind of see where this one was going, but no, the Trump administration from time to time said no. If we were going to back Roy Moore, Donald Trump would be down in Alabama campaigning for him, and he's not. Then Kellyanne Conway went on TV and said, "No Senate seat is worth a child." Then a couple of days later, she went back on TV and said, "Just kidding, we want the tax cuts." So she said, and even Fox and Friends pressed her. They said, "So what about the thing with the child? And does that mean you guys are for Roy Moore?" And she's like, "I mean, we need the seat for the tax cuts. We need the seat for the tax cuts. I mean, you got children, whatever, right? On the other hand, tax cuts for the rich." So finally, Donald Trump has broken his silence. Now, how often is he silent? Not very often, right? When any Democrat's in trouble, he's all over Twitter. But he wouldn't talk much about Roy Moore, but that's okay. We now have clear confirmation of which way he's going to go. So let's watch.
I can tell you one thing for sure. We don't need a liberal person in there, a Democrat. Jones, I've looked at his record. It's terrible on crime. It's terrible on the border. It's terrible in the military. I can tell you for a fact, we do not need somebody that's going to be bad on crime, bad on borders, bad with the military, bad for the Second Amendment.
All right, so that means you are not supporting Doug Jones, you are supporting Roy Moore. Now things are very, very clear. But look, we got more here, let's watch.
Well, he denies it. Look, he denies it. I mean, if you look at what is really going on and you look at all the things that have happened over the last 48 hours, he totally denies it. He says it didn't happen. And you have to listen to him also. Let me just tell you, Roy Moore denies it. That's all I can say. He denies it. And by the way, he totally denies it. Well, he denies. I mean, Roy Moore denies it. And by the way, he gives a total denial. He totally denies it.
Yeah, I think we got it. We got it, man. Okay, it's not a little denial, it's apparently a total denial. So that gets to the uneven playing field that we have among Republicans and Democrats. So when, for example, Senator Al Franken faces allegations of some degree of sexual harassment, he immediately comes out and calls for his own investigation, an ethics investigation into himself, right? And all the Democrats, Jonas Schumer, everybody else, rightfully so, by the way. And when you come to the Republicans, Roy Moore is accused of not jokingly touching a flak jacket, and I'm not trying to downgrade what Al Franken did. He's accused of horrible crimes of child molestation, or bringing a 14-year-old 30 minutes into the woods, stripping her to her underwear, getting completely naked himself, and trying to get her to touch his genitals. There's no gray zone here. And there's a 16-year-old who says she took him into his car and tried to rape her. And he had already written what a sweet little girl and how beautiful she was in her yearbook. All this has come out. Other Republicans have said, I believe the woman, it's too much. No, we can't go in this direction. Trump thinks, he denies it. He totally denies it. So Republicans concede nothing. So then he gets to say, well, no, since it's a denial, it's okay. The Democrats, they foolishly admit things and allow us to railroad them and allows us to smear them and do everything we can to them, whereas we have no consequences, no consequences. And are we surprised by any of this? Donald Trump is a different kind of monster. He's had 16 women that have come forward with sexual harassment or sexual assault allegations against him. So of course, and what does Donald Trump do? He denies it. He totally denies it. Because you deny it doesn't make it untrue. It's so weird. Because there's an allegation doesn't mean that it's absolutely true. You should look at the context of that allegation, see if it makes sense or it doesn't make sense. But just because someone denies it doesn't mean that it's untrue. What a bizarre thing. But Trump is very, very similar to Roy Moore. Of course he's gonna back Roy Moore. This was a real conversation that Donald Trump would somehow grow a conscience. No, he just wants a seat. One more from Trump.
And I do have to say, 40 years is a long time. He's run 8 races and this has never come up. So 40 years is a long time. The women are Trump voters. Most of them are Trump voters. All you can do is you have to do what you have to do.
You have to do what you have to do. And if it turns out a Senate seat is worth more than a child, then we're going to do what we have to do to get those tax cuts. The Trump family would save billions of dollars from these tax cuts. On the estate tax alone, they would save over $1 billion, let alone what they would save on the alternative minimum tax and the pass-through rates being reduced. Trump has, at a minimum, tens of millions of dollars, if he's absolutely lying about his wealth, which is probably true, or billions, if you believe him, he has billions of dollars to gain from those tax cuts. You think he cares about a 14-year-old or a 16-year-old being sexually assaulted when he's got money to make? He just told you, I don't care. We gotta do what we gotta do. That is the Trump motto. Support independent media. Come join us at the Young Turks. TYTnetwork.com/join.